Continuing with disassembling the timesaver layout. Tonight we are removing the turnouts, so I'll have to flip the layout over to get to the underside of the layout board. And most of the turnouts are on the center section, and there you can see the lever frame and the lines that go from that through little cup hooks to a spring underneath the turnout connected to the metal rod that actually operates the turnout itself. All of these will have to be removed so that the turnouts can be removed above the layout. I'll start by removing the lines from, and if they don't want to remove, we'll just simply cut them or do it this way. Let's see. Remove the tension from the lines. See if we can remove the springs. And I find these little plastic tubs are very handy to store parts in, because I will be reusing probably the springs and also the cup hooks, if not for turnout control, then to route wiring through. Come on. Okay, that one is a little sticky. And just to show you that I'm a hoarder and don't throw anything away, the springs that I have used here comes from an old broken typewriter. So if you can find an old typewriter that is no longer functional, it's got a lot of springs that is very handy on a model railroad. So I'm removing the cup hooks as far as I can. Here, and to make sure this is completely budget, the wires that we used to operate the turnouts actually come from paper clips, so they should cut quite easily. And then just push out on the top. There's one more on this side of the board, hiding behind the little foot, which will not be necessary on the new layout because it will be permanent and it will not be having to be folded up. Let's see this. Let's hope the screen can go over. Yep. So there all turnout controls have been released, and let's pull the stainless steel rod, which actually is an old bicycle spoke that has kept these things in place all the years. And as I said in the previous video, these spoons, you can actually see there, that is what armor or whatever made. I can't make out because there's holes and glue, and there was a little scoop on this side, so this is the handle for the scoop that was used for the infant formula my kids used 30 odd years ago. And the spaces in between the scoops is a ballpoint pen that had run dry, and the tube of the pen had been cut up to make the spaces. Right, so now all the turnout has been, shall I say, the turnout controls has been removed. Now let's just cut all the paper clips leading to the turnout so that the turnouts can be removed safely. The next step is to remove all the wiring. And there I have gone the easy route with block connectors. Wiring is also an item that, if handled correctly and stored correctly, can be reused a couple of times. So this wiring will probably also find its way onto the new layout, especially if there's nice long pieces. And I staple my wires into the wooden board and use some hot glue. So let's see how far we can release the wires. Where it goes through to the track, I can actually just cut it because it's very close to the track. I won't be losing too much wire. Okay, and there again we can just unscrew the block connector. Okay, and the block connector itself was also glued down. And there's another 2 pieces of wire that just needs to be released. And just like that, all the wiring is removed. Roll this up so it can be stored out of the way. Now we need to flip the layout over again so that we can get to the turnouts and the track itself to release them from the layout. Luckily I did not glue it down, but it was only nailed down. And here we will start by removing the turnout actuating pins or levers, since they were cut off at the bottom, and paper clips are cheap enough and easy enough to find, so these can just be discarded. This one actually has some rare earth magnets embedded into it for an uncoupler, using old pieces of steel rail to conduct the magnetism, and then the KD coupler trip pin will be pulled to either side. I think you may have a bit of a better view of what I am doing right now. Removing the track. And now let's start with the first turnout. Very, very gently remove the nail. See, that's the first turnout, and it came out in one piece. The throw bar has been cut off before because I used the holes inside there to work with the switch machine or whatever method I'm using to transfer the power to throw the actual throw bars. Piece of a KD magnet. I must check, some of these have actually lost their magnetism, so some of them will not be working on the new layout. This turnout I have removed with the short piece of track because the rail joiners are soldered and there are feeder wires soldered to it, so it's going to stay like this. And just like that, in a few minutes, the layout that once was the time saver has been dismantled. There's no more track left. It looks a lot like the South African railways of today, with much of the track having been stolen, sold as scrap, and the infrastructure being destroyed. It's a really sad state of affairs, but what can we do? What remains now is to undo the screws that keep the board together, the hinges, and also these screws that support the feet underneath with the rubber blocks on them. So that will be done next, and I don't want to bore you with that on video. It's just an electric screwdriver whirring away.